Greetings. Happy to have you join me on the Now Show. Is kind of what I'm deciding to call it, because I started calling it my morning sadhana, but then it wasn't always happening in the morning, and then it wasn't always happening daily, so I couldn't really call it the daily show. It's really just the Now Show. Whenever the now moment is calling for me to share, that's when I'm going to. And I am trying to get somewhat regular. I've got some really fun ideas for some shows coming up. A lot of things I want to share that I hope that you will join me in. But today I am really excited to share some very pertinent cosmic information that I've received. This is the third time I've tried to record this show, and I keep getting interrupted. I finally, I think, figured out how to turn my phone notification rings off so no one can call me, because that disrupts the video every time. But I did just pull the Polar Bear card from this Divine Animal Oracle deck by Stasia. And this is very appropriate. The polar bear is the ancestors card. This really does lead me right into what I want to talk about today. And that is in regards to the progress of the anchoring in of the divine masculine on planet Earth. And if you have been following this journey, if you have been, in your own ascension journey, aware of the cosmic ascension of planet Earth, then you've probably been aware that the divine masculine has been going through this process of awakening, and the divine feminine has gone through an awakening prior, and actually has been holding the space for divine masculine to join her. So we are about a week out from, a little bit more than a week out from the equinox. In the northern hemisphere, this is the autumnal equinox, fall equinox, and in the southern hemisphere this is the spring equinox. But in both cases we find equal balance of light and dark, so this is very significant. It's the beginning of Libra season. So Libra is the scales of justice, and it is also the relationship sign, so the house of other, coming into balance between self and other. So I had a session with a client this morning, and I will keep names and locations confidential, but I think that it would be okay for me to share the cosmic message that was received here, because this is very pertinent for everyone. And I do know many who've been working on the drawing forth what needs to be done to anchor divine masculine. We're calling that in, we're setting space for that, we're invoking that. This has been going on for some time. And we also know in order for divine feminine to fully embody, because there has been an awakening there, but in order for divine feminine to fully embody and show herself on planet Earth, that there has to be this marriage, if you will, this balance of masculine and feminine to birth this new reality wherein she shows herself. And we can know this as the birthing of the new earth, of Gaia. Many are calling this different things, even the return of Yeshua. This is also in alignment, because this is the Shekinah made manifest. So Shekinah, of course, is the Holy Spirit, and in the Trinity of God the Father, Yeshua, and Shekinah, so God the Father and the Holy Mother, which would be the Shekinah, and the child, Christ child, which this is true within us too, okay? So we have the Father element, the inner masculine. We have the mother element, the inner feminine, that births the Christ consciousness, the child of our own consciousness, the inner child. Within our humanness, this Trinity awakening is the new earth birthing, because then the human births itself through the sacred portal of the Trinity. So we've sort of been like awaiting these key points to come into play. And I've noticed over the last year the cosmic ascension lining up neck to neck with the seasons. So as we're coming in toward this equinox energy, I'm not totally shocked that I was tearing up feeling this happening this morning, that yes, this balancing energy is coming in. So I want to share the vision that I had, and that is, this session was for a man, and he'd been struggling in many ways, and most specifically nervous system damaged, and some other disconnections in various parts of reality, emotionally and so forth, but was aware that the awakening is going on. And so the request was for some healing to assist in this process, and this is the vision that I received. So first of all, I became aware that the nervous system having damage is usually, number one, because it is the step down in our body from the cosmic energies, right? The cosmic ascension rays, our life force energy, the kundalini, the cosmic energy that's coming in, that's our life force. So it normally steps down through the chakra system, the 7 seals, the gateways in the body, and our consciousness, when we awaken the third eye, the eye that be single to the glory of God, the eye that be single to the one consciousness, and to this Trinity experience, begins to open and calibrate and adjust the valves of consciousness in the body, so the physical body can begin to ascend, can start to transcend the dense reality. It's an alchemical process. Okay, so when this happens, this cosmic energy comes down through the valves in our body, and when we are consciously able to adjust them, then we can make sure they're not too tight and blocking off, because if we are constricted in the ways in which these valves are helping, regulate our consciousness. For example, if our base root chakra is locked up for fear of survival, that our consciousness is only thinking fear of survival, then that life force energy cannot penetrate that center and allow the experience of abundance and being taken care of and home. And likewise, then what happens, the energy is coming in through the chakras, it's stepping down through the nervous system and the glands. So if that is stifled, and there's so much trying to come in, it's actually going to put a pressure in the nervous system. It's not going to be regulated fluidly. There's going to be even a buildup. Maybe there was an opening, because usually when there's the first awakening, your chakras all open and in comes this flux of energy. But sometimes then with that flux of energy, they lock back up, like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And then you have this massive amount of energy that the glands are trying to work with. Like the adrenal glands will pump, try to give you extra energy, give you creative ideas, get you moving. But it can't run just like that forever. It has to be equalized. We have to learn how to adjust our consciousness to take in all the experiences and to utilize the highest ray that we can within our body, so our bodies can ascend, right? Otherwise we can have damage because we aren't regulated. We've got too much in one area, not enough in another area, and that is our life force, right? So that is what is keeping us alive. So in the image that I received in the session, this man was wanting to know how to regulate his nervous system, and I was receiving the data that there was some closures in the valves. And so even just bringing awareness to that for him it started to move. The energy started to move. And then I became aware of a group of other men. And of course, this is in the psychic realm that I'm seeing this, not physically. But I became aware of this group of men, these men ready to activate and support as divine masculine. But the circle was like opened, like there was a space missing. And it was this man. It was like his energy was the missing puzzle piece for this divine masculine ceremony that was waiting to take place. And in the middle of this divine masculine circle looked like this opening, like a portal. It looked like a pit, like a whirlpool opening. And it just went straight down, like the middle of the tube torus. And the men were all surrounding it, and behind the men were all these divine feminine who were actually space holding. And I've seen this before in reverse, where the men are on the outside and the women are in the middle of the cauldron, but this was the men in the middle at the cauldron and the women outside. And from the man, I saw him with that life force energy moving down the spinal cord, like he was holding the end of the cord. And he then, all the men simultaneously dropped their cords into Mama Gaia, into this portal into the earth. And it was like the healing, sure, it was the healing of when the little boy, who's my little boy right now, when he first has his umbilical cord cut from his mama when he's born. This is a trauma. This is something that he's feeling a separation with mother. And so he grows up and he matures with still some of this feeling of needing to heal this separation with mother, the mother wound. And this is even sometimes why it shows up in a negative manner, like you can't heal it and you feel like an anger or a sadness or an abandonment, and you kind of act out against that. I need a drink of water. So normally I bring that nearby. So in this moment, in this ceremony that began before in her vision, all of the men dropped their cord and like reconnected to Gaia, to divine mother energy. And this pulse began to flow in through the men. And the men, I could see them beginning to fill with this cosmic energy. And they would go out from them to their beloveds and then out into the network. And I was aware that this was beginning now. And I was sure in seeing this that we would begin to see the effects of this in the world, that somehow I even heard between now and this equinox, this balancing day, that there is this great equalizing. And I don't know what the effects of this will be. I don't know how this is going to look in the external world. Surely when we push things out into balance, it can be perceived as imbalance, even like a great imbalance, but that might just be the effect of the balancing. So I guess that's what I feel like I want to share, is be aware that whatever may unfold this next week, and I'm not a fan of getting dates, but I'm just sharing what I saw and what I heard, to notice it as being the effect, the after effect of this balancing taking place in the cosmos on planet Earth between masculine and feminine. This awakening of divine masculine, this balancing between them, that I only assume, feel, see that this could be a good thing. This could be what we wanted to happen. This is part of. Oh, and the other part was this energy flowing through the masculine. It felt, I had this like echo backwards, as if the the birthing of the earth we have all been in occurred could be traced back to another pivotal moment, and that was the birth of Jesus the Christ through Mary, the mother. And she was at that time the portal of creation. She was birthing the new earth template that was a Christed human. And so then we saw the representative, the avatar for the Christed human, Jesus, as the Son of God, come through that portal. So there's something similar that's happening through this. And it's happening through the men courting into Divine Mother energy. And I'm seeing it through planet Earth. So, and that somehow they are assisting in this birthing of the new earth. So, I expect to see this in men somehow, perhaps even in children, perhaps just a deeper connection with the planet, with Mama Earth. I don't know how it will show up, but I wanted to share it because it felt very pertinent. And I'm teaching my kids some numerology in their homeschool. So I wanted to share a little bit from this beginner's guide. And I feel like talking about a 3, because this Trinity and this book just came, so I haven't read into it too much, but I'm going to read from number 3, Destiny, because that sounds good. Thinking of the Trinity. Self-expression is your keynote. The sparkle and effervescence you generate wherever you go bolsters the morale of anyone feeling a bit low. You're used to and enjoy getting things to your own way and doing exactly as you please. What will be is your motto, and you don't worry too much about tomorrow. That is fine as long as you don't become unconcerned that you neglect doing things you should do. This is bringing a very human element into the 3 for sure. But it is definitely bringing it into the moment, the sparkle and the effervescence of the now, which really is the portal of, the 0 point that the Trinity opens up. Between 1 and a 2 is just a straight line, but when you add 3, you suddenly have a portal, you have an opening, you have this 0 point, this now. I'm looking for specifically the vibration. Here we go. This is an interesting book. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know what it's going to say. Number 3, vibration. With the strong power of self-expression inherent in the 3, there should always be fun and laughter wherever you are. Anyone of the performing arts would be ideal for the 2 of you. Entertaining will be your pleasure, and you will be known for your gay parties and company. Of course, that's not PC anymore, but a well-rounded, social, desirable couple, always in demand. So this is like, I guess if you're a 3 couple, this isn't really going into what I wanted it to, but I think what it's reminding me of is this time we're going into really wants levity. Like there's something like of the reversal of gravity. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we like start floating around, but more that we feel like we are. That we have a levity about us. That is the 3. That is the Trinity. That is the portal to the new world, is levity. Through self-expression, through authentic joy, through fun, through love and laughter, that these things are really the medicine during such heavy times, that laying seriousness aside is a good thing, to allow us to connect from a jovial heart place, to be light with each other, to laugh, to not be so serious, to not be so heavy. Like, those are the things that will sink us right now if we get too heavy. But be careful, you could be called names for not being too serious right now. But sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me, is the thing, right? So the invitation right now is to go through this Trinity portal and to recognize that there has been an anchoring in of divine masculine. So to me, that is a powerful, powerful signal that, yeah, things are going to change. And they're going to change in a good way. And even in good ways, sometimes it looks like it's got the appearance like it has a negative effect. Like when you clean your room and you get everything out, it looks like a disaster, but you're just in the middle and then you're going to organize everything back in. Okay, when you're going to clean your body out, you start doing a juice fast or whatever, like you're going to like have some gross things happen and you're even going to feel sick and you might feel disgusting, like you have the flu, but you know at the end you're going to feel clear. Your body's going to be cleaner. Middle of heart surgery, maybe like blood is everywhere. It doesn't look good. But you know it's going to get all put back together right. So let's remember this part of reality is that moment where things are getting taken apart and it's looking kind of messy, but it's on its way to the new earth, to the ascension, to the beautiful golden era, to the 1,000 years of peace, to the returning of Christ, to whatever you know this time to be, the millennium, the Satya Yoga. So many cultures called by different names, but all of it, the energy is the same, this heaven on earth, this time of love, the golden and rose, the return of the tribes. These are all woven through all cultures that speak of this time. And so some of us must keep the remembering of that, even while the discomfort is going on, right? And that is the ancestors, they remind us that they've been through similar transitions. Maybe not this exact one, but other transitions. Other times, either the Great Depression or during a World War, or maybe during Vietnam, or however, like those who are alive still can tell some stories. What did happen then? Or you can go back a little further and do some research and read about our forefathers and our foremothers, what it was like when they were in the process of leaving an old or having some calamity that is pressuring them forward or moving them forward or part of the forward progress of the new settlement or the new home or the new reality. This is again and again in the stories of old and not so old. And yeah, it doesn't always look good during that time. There's a lot of societal breakdown. There's a lot of deaths that can occur because some will choose the densest way to express the death card, which is the transformation. Not every consciousness is going to figure out how to do that all in their mind and in their heart. Some will take the very physical way of doing that. And so we can honor all of those paths and recognize that it is a global ascension. And we've got it. It's happening. We're participating in it. We're getting to humbly watch and be part of the greatest event in all of Earth's story. So I thank right now the men who've been standing awaiting this day. And I'm already in gratitude for this great balancing, however that is looking. And I'm preparing in myself also and in my reality. And I'm asking you, inviting you to do that also. Where can you find and bring and invite in more harmony, more beauty, more balance in your relationships? How can you come to that point zero before the new creation, right, of the Trinity energy. And right now I'm saying this again, one of my dear man friends is messaging who knows of this ceremony, and so appreciating him chiming in now on some level, knowing that I'm recording this video. There is a deep anchoring of, I'm very excited to see this divine masculine and this divine feminine anchored and expressing more fully in the world. It is a different world that has divine feminine, divine masculine expressing fully, and not the unawakened versions, as we have seen a lot of. So tides are changing this equinox, and more like the creeping in of the new tide, when we begin to see the after effects of what it looks like when divine masculine, divine feminine begin to step forward. So thank you ahead of time. Thank you in the process of, and in all that it requires of us to get there each day. Sometimes just getting out of bed is a lot. So, sending love out to each one of you. Blessings. Until next time, I invite you to go out and observe the effects of this information in your reality, and please, I'd love to hear what comes to you. We're all in this together. Until next time, I'm out.